When you just started trying for a baby, it might have been fun, flirting with each other, sending each other seductive texts about what to expect later that evening in the bedroom. However, when cycle after cycle, there's no baby, you're scheduling sex and maybe only in your fertile window, sex can start to feel a little bit like a chore. So on this Valentine's Day, I want to remind you lovebirds that it is totally possible to keep your sex life enjoyable whilst trying to conceive, and that it's essential that you invest in your sexual relationship to keep it exciting. If this is the first time you're seeing one of my videos, hello lovely. I am Inge Sprey and I'm a natural fertility specialist helping couples worldwide to fall pregnant naturally with videos on this channel and on my program, The Fertility Reclaim. I've got 8 fabulous tips for you to help you reignite the fire for the both of you. And anything you do today to elevate your love life is an investment for the future as well, because trust me, once baby is here, once you enter parenthood, it's really easy for your love life to go to the back burner. But because you've been practicing while trying to conceive to keep the fire going, you'll know exactly what to do by that time to up your game again. I'm saving my best tip for the end, so make sure to stick around for that one. And in the meantime, pop down below in the comments. Are you struggling to keep the fun in the bedroom? Tip number 1. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Do not call it baby dancing. There is nothing that's going to kill your love life by over focusing on the fact that you are using sex to get pregnant. Yes, of course, you're going to need to have sex together for you to get pregnant. But you should not see it as a tool towards that goal. You should be focusing on your relationship and seeing sex as part of your relationship, as the physical expression of your love and your connection. And when all that is right, isn't it gorgeous that a baby can come forth from that love? I know that a lot of men find it highly unsexy for this to be called baby dancing. So if you're a man watching, could you just please confirm this for us in the comments down below? Tip number 2 is a bit of a shift of perspective. Don't think that scheduling sex is going to be the death of your love life. In fact, like I said, when you are parents, it's going to be harder to schedule in some, let me say, spontaneous time. There are going to be times that you're going to have to schedule in time for your love life, because otherwise it's not going to be happening. So it's really fine for you to realize that right now, that it's okay to sometimes be scheduling sex. And I think maybe this is more of an issue for the men. I don't know if that's the case for you guys, but this is what I see in my clinic and when I talk to my patients, that the women have less issues with this, but it's the men that feel that they need to perform in that moment. But hey, you can also schedule sex outside of your fertile window. It doesn't have to be always in your fertile window. But just realize that scheduling sex in itself is not the death of your love life. In fact, it's better than not having it at all and not investing in your love life at all. So speaking of scheduling sex, I highly recommend tip number 3 for you to also schedule in sex in your luteal phase. And I've done a video on this in the past, so I'll make sure to link that in. But the point is that it's important that you guys also invest in your love life outside of that moment that you can fall pregnant, because that is going to help you not over focus your love life on the trying to get pregnant part. When you know you aren't fertile, or you might already be pregnant, because that might be the case if you caught the egg, but you're still prioritizing time together, then that is a confirmation of the fact that you continue to care about your physical relationship, whether that's going to bring you the baby or not. Tip number 4 is to make a choice that you actually want to invest in your love life. Hey, listen, that when you just had a relationship, the sex was hot and steamy just by itself, doesn't mean that the hormones you had at the time are still enough right now for it to keep being that fun and that exciting. In fact, the thing that is going to make it the most exciting is when you actually have a real connection, when you have a history together of being there for each other, that you have commitment, that you trust each other, that you have a friendship. So just realize that like your communication needs investment, like your friendship needs investment, like your spiritual life needs investment together, your physical relationship also needs investment. So that means practice time, lots of practice time, and also talking to each other about what you do enjoy, what you don't enjoy. So it's definitely worth asking yourself and maybe each other the harder questions. So if you like, you can just go ahead and grab maybe a journal or just a piece of paper and a pen and ask yourself these questions and then answer them written down. First of all, why is it that you want a baby in the first place? Is it a bio imperative? Do you feel like your clock is ticking? What is the real reason? And secondly, this is a bit of a hard question, unless the answer is positive, then it isn't. But do you actually love the person that you want to have this baby with? Do you love them, and do you want to actually have a family with them? Or is it just you that wants to be a mom, that wants to be pregnant, that wants to have a baby to play with? This is a confrontational question, but whatever the answer is, it's going to be helpful, because if the answer is yes, 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 it just reminds you of why you're trying to fall pregnant in the first place. And doesn't mean that you cannot want to be a mom or be pregnant, because I do think this is often the part of us women, that this is something that we want, that we just desire to nurture somebody, to dress up our babies. And this might not be the case for you, but I think for a lot of women it is. But that shouldn't be the only reason, right? I'm pretty sure you'll agree. I'm pretty sure that when push comes to shove, we agree that the ideal situation is that you truly love each other. And I'll soon get off my soapbox, but loving each other isn't always a feeling, often a choice, right? Loving each other is still taking care of each other and being committed when that other person is grumpy, unfriendly, might not have showered last night, has eaten all of your favorite chips or chocolate and not put it on the grocery list, and all of the more serious stuff, right? Love is in forgiveness and continuing to be there for each other and being committed. So do you love your partner in that way? And then when it comes to your sex life, there are a couple of things that you can ask each other. And I think a lot of couples don't actually have these conversations. But I think it's very worthwhile for you to be talking to each other about your needs, about frequency, maybe about positions, maybe the time of the day. Are there things the other person is or isn't doing that is kind of putting you off? These are really good things to talk about. It can elevate your sex life, obviously, but also just asking these questions makes the other person feel like you care about their needs, and that in itself is a huge turn on, isn't it? Like, your partner actually cares about what you want, what you enjoy, what you feel. That alone is going to reignite your fire, I promise you. Tip number 5 is that I would highly recommend that you're careful with toys. And the reason for this is toys kind of over-focus on the physical part rather than the physical part coming forth from your loving relationship and tuning into each other's physical needs and desires. So there might be a time and place for toys if you guys are on the same page. I think that's the most important. But I would really recommend to be careful with that. There is a risk that you're going to need more and more stimulation at some point. So I guess that's what I'm saying. Just be careful. Don't buy into this idea that you need toys to spice up your sex life. However, do use lubrication if you feel like you need it, because if it is uncomfortable, that is not going to help you tune into fun time, while a little bit can go a long way and put you into the mood. I'm going to be doing an upcoming video on lubrication and which ones are safe to use or helpful to use when you're trying to conceive. So if you aren't subscribed yet, then do hit that button and the notification bell so you're notified as soon as it goes up. That brings me into tip number 6, because in that video, I will also be talking about the fact that while yes, lubrication can be helpful, it's actually more important for you to be aroused. And as a woman, it just takes longer. And it's important that you both realize this, and that foreplay is important. Because if as a woman you are aroused, you will be producing enough fluid, to keep everything lubricated, you'll be a lot more relaxed and it will be way more fun. So don't sniff at foreplay just because you're in a hurry. And scheduled sex also doesn't mean that you need to be in a hurry. In fact, you can schedule in enough time for that foreplay. And that kind of brings me into tip number 7. If you're in pain, you need to address this. If you have some discomfort, maybe again because you're not focusing enough on taking the time to get aroused, to be relaxed, or that can be solved with a little bit of lube, it's possible that you're tightening up way too much, and that is causing the pain. And there's often underlying issues for that you can address homeopathically. There might be trauma underneath it, but if you are in that much pain, you really, really need to address it. And I promise that my last tip would be the best tip. So tip number 8 is the Ultimate Intimacy app. This tip is not sponsored. It is an app that I came across and that I can just really highly recommend to you because it can elevate your sex life today. I think you should just go check it out. But one of the things that I really like about it is some of the conversation starters. So that kind of feeds into what I've been saying earlier, right? How it's important to nurture relationship all around, but it also goes into the more steamy stuff. And you can follow them on Instagram. And what I like about that is that they're constantly reminding you with their little posts and their pictures of like, hey, check-ins, like what are you doing about your sex life today? Or how about you do XYZ, or have you ever considered so-and-so? So it keeps it on your mind, I guess, that you are thinking about investing in your love life. Sometimes you may love each other to pieces, have a fantastic relationship and friendship, but it's hard to enjoy the trying to conceive journey because of your low sex drive. If this is you, go check out the video on your screen right now. That will help you with your next step. And in the meantime, see you in the next video. Bye.